Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Speaks meeting today. My name is Linda. I will be assisting with Sajita Tam role today. In order for us to have a smooth meeting, please mute your phone when you're not speaking. And anyone who has a role, if you can put your role and then your name so that we can know what role you're serving, you can label yourselves. And welcome all the guests that we have in the meeting today. So I'll read the mission of the Toastmaster. The mission of Toastmaster is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning experience where every member has an opportunity to develop communication skills, which in turn fosters self-development and personal growth. And today, our Toastmaster will be the inaugural and current president of Leadership Speak, member of Toastmasters since 2019. He is an experienced senior executive, previously leading team as a large 400 employee across the globe, now focusing his time on independent consulting for a variety of projects. Please welcome Brent.
Thank you very, very much. And I first off just want to welcome everyone to this special meeting of Leadership Speak. I hope that my audio is okay. As you can probably tell from my background, I am not at my home office. I am currently sitting on the shores of Lake Huron at my family cottage and hopefully enjoying what is going to be a wonderful day. I chose the theme of this meeting today for a particular reason, that the only constant is change. That's a quote actually from a Greek philosopher. His name was Heraclitus, and stood the test of time for over 2,500 years. Why I picked that particular theme for this meeting is that this is our last meeting of the current executive, and in our next leadership meeting, we will have transitioned and handed over the reins to the incoming new executive for the next full year. I wanted to take a special moment of recognition for what this club has accomplished. That in a very relatively short period of time, we founded this club on February the 17th. And in that time, this group of members has pulled together and really strived to achieve some super significant accomplishments. The leadership team that became the initial club executive that really only formed, February the 20th, managed to complete all of their leadership training, which club points for our club leadership completing their training. Not only that this club pulled together to complete every possible educational achievement. And as a result, not only has the club achieved President's Distinguished, this club has actually achieved the maximum number of 10 points under the Distinguished Club program. It's an amazing accomplishment. It wouldn't have happened but for the committed and dedicated and self-directed leadership that this club brings forward. What is one of the things that made that happen? The ability for the leaders of this club to adapt that need to change. This is a club that is founded on a basic principle of striving for leadership development with a goal that we learn together, and through learning we innovate. And when we innovate, that helps us to connect better with ourselves, with our teams, with the people that we're trying to lead. And we only do that because we've embraced change. We've embraced creating a global club where we meet online and we're able to bring in unique talents and backgrounds from people all across the globe. We don't wait for things to change and then have to react. We actually are initiating and leading change. One of my favorite quotes about change is actually by Colin Powell. And what he said is, he was referencing the traditional adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And in reference to if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Colin Powell said that that is the slogan of the complacent, the arrogant, or the scared. And I love that quote because I also, it's a pet peeve of mine when people use that adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because if that was the case, we would never get better. And that's exactly what this club has strived to do, is to strive to continually find new ways to communicate a message of leadership development in a positive way, to embrace the use of technology in order to make our presentations and our speeches that much more effective, to utilize means of communication to better reach out and connect with the different members of this club, whether that's through WhatsApp or just using the technology that we have available to ensure that we stay connected as a global club and inspire and motivate each other to continue to improve upon our abilities of being self-directed leaders. And that's why this club has been so fundamentally successful. That's why this club is something that I've been very proud to lead for the past 4.5 months towards that very significant accomplishment of achieving our president's distinguished status. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to just acknowledge and celebrate the success of this club as drivers and innovators and leaders of change that allowed that to happen. So congratulations, everyone. And on that note, folks, I'd like to now pass the meeting over to Francoise Bowen for our toast. Francoise.
Hi, I hope everyone can hear me because my internet's been a bit unstable. Thank you so much, President, for that motivational, inspiring review. Because if we decided to remain at one level, there's no way we would have made President distinguished. And I want to share something. This is for my toast, and it's something I saw on the line, and I thought I should read it to all of us. One constant since the beginning of time might be changes. However, the fear of change is also a constant. Since times immemorial, humans have liked routine. It makes us feel in control of our lives. When that fear of change becomes irrational, our ability to control it becomes a phobia. And what I want to say to all of us is that when we decide to use fear consistently to not go forward, we will not go forward. We will remain stagnant. And there's a scripture verse in the Bible that's new. We must open to show that what happened yesterday may not work for today. And COVID has taught us to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I say to all of us, let me make sure my teacup, yep. I give my toast. Let us have constant change in the positive light and not look at it in the negative. Cheers.
Let us have constant change in a positive
Cheers.
way. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Francoise. Wonderful toast. All right, next
And the
next
virtual
up.
lectern.
All right, perfect. And next up, I'd like to introduce our grammarian for today, Sharlene Stafford. Sharlene, if you could just let us know a little bit about your role today.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My role this morning is to give you the word of the day, which I hope you will use constantly throughout the day, as well, throughout the meeting this is, anyway. And I will also keep a track of ahs and ums. I'm not very good at catching bad grammar, but I do like sensational words, and I will try my best to keep track of those. So your word of the day today is habit. Habit definitions is a settled tendency or usual manner of behavior, a habit of taking a morning walk. It also can be an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntarily, like waking up every morning at 6 o'clock due to force of habit. And thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sharlene. And our next speaker up is Marianna Burka, who's going to describe her role today as timer. Marianna?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. And as a timer, I will give a sign, the colored sign when people reaching that the specific time in the speech. As far as I know, all the speeches today, it's 5 to 7 minutes, which will mean that at 5, I will have a green light on, 6, the amber, and 7, the red one. And for table topics, the same color scheme with 1 minute, 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. And if all of you speakers today could get in the habit of making sure that you're able to see our timer during your speech to make sure that our meeting stays moving along exactly how we planned. All right. I'd like to lead us right into some of our prepared speeches today. And to help me do that, I'd like to actually introduce our first evaluator of the day, Peggy Onlock. If you could just tell us the objectives of our first speaker, it will be Fursey Gotuaco's speech. If you could just let us know the objectives of Fursey's speech today, Peggy.
All right, so Fursey is doing the introduction to vocal variety and body language. And the purpose statement of this project is for the member to practice using vocal variety or body language to enhance a speech. And this is from the Persuasive Influence pathway, and it is a level 1.
Perfect. Thank you very, very much, Peggy. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Fursey Gotuaco with Plant a Tree and Grow a Forest. Plant a tree and grow a forest, Fursey Gotuaco.
The young boy burst into tears. He had just finished his first project in my class, a speech, and he couldn't finish it. And he burst into tears and went out in the hall. And I pulled him aside. I said, it's going to be all right. He was in my class because he was at risk. No one thought he was going to graduate high school. And it was my job to make sure that he did. And I looked at him and I said, not only are you going to graduate high school, I bet you're even going to go to college. I believe in you. I need you to believe in yourself. How hard that vision must have been to put into his brain, that a kid with so much going against him thinking, oh my gosh, not only am I going to graduate high school, I'm going to go to college. But that's what we do, you and I, as mentors. We help kids who have this view of a tree. to say you're going to be able to do it. They have this view and they think they'll never make it to the top. They stand at the bottom and they think, I just cannot get my mind around this vision. I'm just sort of hanging out. Look at them. How do we help them grow and realize they're just that big? They're not little Lilliputians. You see, what people forget, what our proteges forget, is that every single one of those big trees starts out as a seed. Every single one. It's our job to let them know that when we look at them in the eye, they have the DNA already inside of them. All they need is an opportunity. Somebody to come along and maybe water them, maybe feed them some nutrients like knowledge and some skills, but the DNA is already there. You look around at the trees around you and you see huge trees just like they do, like the ones that are there with you, Brent. But the fact of the matter is they all started small. And sometimes they came from places that were completely trashed. Do you see this picture? This is new growth on top of lava. Yes, on top of lava. Those of you who know about lava, decimates everything in its sight. And yet, growth comes from inside. When we talk about change being the only constant, we have only to look at nature and know that change is everywhere. And it's the only constant and has been the only constant. People can grow. It feels like change for the better when in fact the DNA is already there. You've all heard the different adages about trees. Trees that are hanging on the side of a cliff, hanging on for dear life. You and I know some of these people. They come into our Toastmaster clubs, hanging on for dear life, hoping somebody will give them a chance. That's you. That's me. And they'll look different to every single one of us. They have such different backgrounds and such different paths. It's not only going to be one path. But when they grow, when we grow others, when we plant that tree, that kernel of an idea that they can do it, that's us continuing on the history. That's us continuing on what Ralph Smedley started in 1924. That we're going to be able to grow and support them. That's what we do as mentors. No matter how hard the path has been, that's what we do as mentors. We say, you can do it. Take a look at this tree. It's growing upside down. It's growing upside down. It couldn't grow up, so it grew down to find sunlight. He who plants a walnut tree expects not to eat of the fruit. The people that we help here in Toastmasters, we're not just helping them in their pathways. We're helping them in their lives. And we're not sure exactly where that's going to happen. They could go to work and have incredible success. We will never see it. We may not even get their pathway level out of it. But we know that they're going to experience success, and we hope that we were part of that. And it doesn't matter when they start that growth. Take a look at this beautiful tree. It's not that giant oak, but it is a beautiful tree in its own right. That even in an icebreaker, we see beauty. Even in a level 1, we see beauty. This dense forest was planted several decades ago on a desert island on a desert island. One man started planting trees, and then the trees helped themselves grow, spreading seeds, and the birds came, and that's where we all come in. That young man that I knew, his name is Ricky Ortiz. Ricky Ortiz contacted me just a couple of years ago. You see, I only knew him for a month and a half, and then I had to change jobs. But just a year and a half ago, he contacted me on Facebook. And he said, Mr. G, when no one else believed in me, you did. I'm here to say not only did I graduate college, but this diploma, and he was in his cap and gown, this diploma shows that I graduated with a master's degree, and it's got your name on it. Every one of us has that ability to impact people. And it's when we do impact people like that, that we understand humanity. A society grows when old men plant trees under whose shade they know they will never sit. You and I are those old men. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Lovely. Well done, Mr. G. I like that. That's what I'm calling you from now on, by the way. And it's going to be Mr. G from now on. I love it. That's a great handle. All right. If we could please have the timer give everyone 1 minute so that they can give Fursey some feedback in a private one-to-one chat. Ms. Timer. And if I could also just, while we take that moment, remind all of our members and guests, if you are not the designated speaker, I know we all know this, but make sure that you're on mute, please.
Where am I? Oh. There we are. Am I on mute?
Okay, minute is off.
Thank you very much, Marianna. All right, next up, I'd actually like to invite Francoise Bowen to welcome us and let us know the objectives of Wesley's speech today. Francoise?
Okay, I'm just gonna have my volume on. The camera, it's definitely my internet, sorry, is definitely unstable. All right, so I'm gonna miss our Toastmaster speaker evaluation details. It's connect with your audience. And the purpose of this project is for the members to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. The purpose of this project is for the members to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Back over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very, very much, Francoise. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Wesley Hillstrom. Does life continue after physical demise? Does life continue after physical demise? Wesley Hillstrom.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, the passing of Ron Hesketh was inspiration for this presentation. I do not believe that life ends with physical demise, and I would like to give you some reasons for that belief. Many years ago, in 1992, my dad passed away. And after he passed, I had a dream about him. In the dream, my mom, dad, and I were about to take a trip by train. And in the dream, my dad got on an earlier train, and as his train was departing, he called out from a window saying, "We'll meet up at the next stop." I found that dream very comforting. It suggested an afterlife. In 2004, I was visiting my mom in Michigan, Detroit, for the Easter holiday. And the day before Easter, she tripped on a ripple in the carpeting and broke her hip. So Easter Sunday was spent with her having surgery. Well, she got through the surgery just fine, but she kept having relapses. Now, I took family-friendly leave. I took my own personal medical leave for a period of about 4 months so that I could see her through her recovery and prepare her home for her eventual return. I replaced all the carpeting with flat Berber carpeting and made her home more comfortable for her. But although recovery was initially good, she kept having relapses because she already had emphysema. The last time I saw her was in July. I was looking into her eyes and I saw this tenderness, this concern for her. Now, my mom was a very gentle, caring lady. She had a reputation of being a caregiver on both sides of the family. That was her nature. That was her habit. Now, my dad was a very intelligent man. When he was 13 years old, he won a trip to meet the governor of the state of Michigan for placing first in a county-wide scholastic exam. But the smartest thing he ever did in his entire life was that he proposed to my mom. He'd be the first to agree to that. I'm looking to my mom's eyes, and it's perfectly obvious to me that she is not going to come home. She's going to leave. So I said, "Mom," I held her hand. I said, "Mom, it's okay for you to go into the light. It's okay for you to see Dad." Within minutes, she was gone. That Christmas, I was visiting my cousin in Arizona, and her husband was rather spiritually sensitive. And he had great admiration for my petite, angelic, gentle mom. And he said that he had a dream about my mom. In the dream, my father, well, it was actually about my dad. He walked into this hospital setting and he took my mom's hand and he said something like, "Come on, Mom, it's time to go." He saw my mom's body rise out, or spirit rise out of her body, and my mom and dad walked down this hospital corridor. He said as they walked, these two double doors opened up and they walked off into this light. And the curious thing was that Mike said that Mom would look after me, would look back, would stop every once in a while, look back after me. And Dad would say something like, "Look, it's okay. He'll be all right. We'll look after him. It's okay. Don't worry about it." So they walked off into this light. And I said, "Mike, that's exactly what I told my mom." And he had no way that I told my mom that it was okay to see Dad and go off into the light. Next year, Hurricane Katrina hit. And I was living near a canal close to the Gulf of Mexico. And I've been having problems trying to get away to Detroit to sell a family home. I love the family home, but it was impossible to keep it another 1,000 miles away. So I left just before Katrina hit. So I was not there when Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. So then I was calling family members to let them know that I was okay. And I called Mike and I heard this sigh of relief. He says, man, am I ever glad to hear from you. And I didn't think anything of it until I heard the rest of the story the next year, or that next Christmas. And he said, when I had a dream about your mom again, and he said, don't worry about Wes, I'm taking care of him. Well, he took it the wrong way. He thought mom was taking care of me on the other side. So he didn't tell my cousin about the dream. So the point I'm making is that I do not believe that life ends with physical demise. I believe that the soul carries on. And if it's a loved one, that love continues still. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very, very much, Wesley. Ms. Timer, if we could get a moment to allow everyone to provide feedback to Wesley in a private chat.
Yes, timer is set.
Great. I'll just let everyone hopefully listen to the birds continue to chirp here while we take that moment. Now, did we, real quick here, Marianna, is someone else able to be your timer for this speech?
I hope Brahm will do it. I mentioned.
I was just going to say, Brahm, would you be able to act as timer for Marianna's speech?
Unfortunately, I'm on a new computer now, and I don't have
Brahm,
that set up.
not you, Brahm,
Okay.
with a B.
Minute is up.
Thanks. Brahm, are you good? Did we lose Mr. Memone? I don't see him.
No.
Oh, Brahm, are you there, or you must have had to step away? Fursey, would you be able to? Yeah, thank you very much, yes. Fursey. All right, Marianna, so Fursey will be your timer today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and on that note, I'd actually like to first introduce Sharlene Stafford, who is going to provide us with the objectives of Marianna's speech. Sharlene?
Thank you. Excuse me. Am I unmuted? I'm sorry. I had computer issues a minute ago. Marianna is speaking.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Thank you. Marianna is speaking from the Engaging Humor Pathways. I do believe it's level 2, and it's about mentoring. The purpose of the speech is to enlighten us about some previous experience that she has had as a protege, and also maybe define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring into our program. But she is not to repeat the project itself. And her speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Am I missing anything else? No.
No, I think you did a wonderful job. Well done, Sharlene.
Thank you.
Well done. Without further ado, Marianna Burka, mentoring. Marianna Burka.
Do you remember why you joined Toastmasters at the beginning? I was told that if I want to be a good speaker, if I want to be able to present in front of people, I should join Toastmasters. So I listened, and here I am, Mr. Toastmaster, Hello, Toastmasters, most welcome guests. At my first meeting, visit as a guest, I find it was nothing what I imagined. It was way more complex. First, the agenda, detailed by the minute. Oh my! And the people were supporting each other. And the clapping, all that clapping. Then it came a big surprise. They called the evaluator. Oh, what? They will want me to evaluate somebody else's speech? I was mortified. Of course, they didn't call me to evaluate as a guest, but I was thinking of the future because I knew at that first time that I wanted to be a Toastmaster, that I wanted to be a part of this organization. I started my Toastmaster journey eagerly. I went on, picked my path, and I remember my icebreaker, clutching my lectern, shaking, and try to remember my words without looking on my paper. And look at me now. I am talking, I am smiling, moving around, my hands are moving, and I'm looking at you right in the eye. No shaking. So as I was wandering around the Toastmaster website, I find that I can ask for a mentor. Wow. So I did. My first mentor was Brenda Bellinger. She was a patient, knowledgeable person, calm, and she came to my home to help me prepare for my speech. Wonderful experience. And we became friends. And then I reached level 2, and they said, well, you have to talk about your mentoring experience before Toastmaster in your real life. Oh, what now? Really? But I was thinking and thinking and thinking. And I find that I never, ever had a mentor in my whole life. It's not just that. I never needed a mentor. I never wanted a mentor. But nobody ever wanted to mentor me. It's like I had a big sign in my forehead, unmentorable. So I realized that I was wrong. But all through my life, I always knew what I wanted to do, where I wanted to do it, how I wanted to do it, who I wanted to do it with. And I thought I didn't need a mentor. I thought I always knew everything, just perfect. Now I'm different. I opened up my mind. I learned to listen to people. I learned to ask for advice. And I learned that getting advice, asking for help is not a weakness. It's a strength. And now, as I opened up my mind, I changed my perception and unwelcome corrections. And I am find my place within the Toastmaster communities. Brenda was an agreeable, supportive person, and she helped me to enter Toastmaster organization, and he helped me to go where I wanted to go. Now I have a new mentor. His name is Brahm Memone. He is a different kind of mentor. He is pushing me all the time. He is challenging me. The very first time we connected, he explained it to me that he has high standard. And he showed it to me, high standard. And he explained it to me that he is not willing to come down to my level. And he showed it to me to hear. So my first challenge he gave me to fill up the agenda. We usually had available roles right before the meeting. So I started to work and I called people, I texted people, I connected with people, and I filled the agenda days before our meeting. At the second week, I filled the whole agenda with 4 speakers by Tuesday. And I was happy, and I sent a message to my mentor, look, and I sent a picture. And he answered back to me within seconds. And he said, Marianna, we are an advanced club. We should have 5 speakers. Well, 4 years ago, I probably would have got upset for something like this. But now I just went out, I find the 5th speaker and evaluator. At the beginning of my Toastmaster journey, I needed Brenda's careful, gentle instruction to ease me to my Toastmaster path. And thank you, Brenda, for that. And now I am welcoming all the challenges I can face too. And thank you, Brahm, for that. And because of those 2 people, I am now, if I hear mentoring, I say, yes, please. Thank you.
Well done, Marianna. All right. Marianna, I'm going to have you jump back into your timer role. And if you could give us a minute, and everyone hopefully can provide you with some feedback on private chat.
Timer is set for 1 minute.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 1 minute is up.
Thank you very much, Marianna. All right. Staying with the habit of trying to stay on time and keeping the meeting moving along, I'm actually going to be evaluating our next speaker. The objectives of Nikhita's speech, it's actually the same project that Marianna just completed, which is the Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring Project. Nikhita is actually working through the innovative planning pathway. I believe this is a level 3 project for her, where again, she will also share a personal story of an experience being mentored by somebody and as a protege.
Sorry, just a correction. It's persuasive influence.
Persuasive influence. Sorry, I swear I read it correctly from Easy Speak, but thank you very much for correcting me, Nikhita. I hope I got the speech title right, but Nikhita Winkler with Each One, Teach One. Each One, Teach One, Nikhita Winkler.
Mr. G, I love your use of the tree in your speech about mentorship. And Marianna, I loved listening to you because you reminded me of my beginning of this journey. Well, fellow Toastmasters and guests, the reason I'm here today is because of one special Toastmaster leader whom I met in 2019. And guess what? She had an eye for me. Yes, I believe that mentors have a very special eye for their proteges. Perhaps it's the third eye working to match a mentor to his and her protege in a perfect moment that fosters the development of the potential within the protege. This relationship to me is beautiful, priceless, and symbiotic. Let's imagine the tree, because I do love the tree as representation for mentorship. The tree bears fruit with seeds. And the one who eats from this tree is the protege, the tree being the mentor. Now the tree has seeds in its fruit so that whoever or that which eats from it gets to disperse the seeds to do what? To plant more trees. When I asked my mentors who have come into my life, how can I return this favor? What do you expect from me in return for your wisdom, your teachings, your time, and your energy? Their response is, when you are ready, go and teach another. A mentor cannot be a mentor without experience. A mentor needs to be committed because this journey does not have a timeline. A mentor, therefore, needs patience, compassion, a positive vibration, and a golden heart, a generous golden heart. And one cannot be mentored without being ready. There is the Buddhist saying, the teacher appears when the student is ready. And the teacher disappears when the student is truly ready. This to me is true mentorship. The protege's journey starts with this deep craving, and calling for guidance. The protege needs to be ready to learn and grow, and to have the readiness to receive. And the journey of the mentor starts as a protege who has been nurtured with their mentors into the fruit-bearing tree that is there to feed another. I don't know what mentorship used to be in the years without the internet. I assume that mentorship happened within the family and the community. But one thing that I do know now is that we live in a world with immediate access to a wealth of information. people are available. And we have our mentors in the books that we read, the podcasts we listen to, the videos we watch. Our mentors are not only choosing their proteges, but proteges now are choosing their mentors from that which they are consuming. I want to share with you the story of how I met the Madam Toastmaster who had an eye for me. She's not at the meeting today, but she is a part of this club. She worked in a bank, and I was managing my brother's company inside this bank. My brother owned vending machines, and I was there servicing the vending machines. So this is where I met her, inside this bank in Namibia, Windhoek, the capital city of Namibia. And one day we knew each other for a very short time. And one day I walked to the vending machine and I passed her desk and I stopped to greet her. And she invited me to her Toastmasters Club meeting that day. It was every Saturday, every second Saturday morning inside the bank. I had ambitions of being a motivational speaker. So I accepted her invitation without a hesitation. Fast forward, I am still walking the Toastmaster journey as a protege of my mentor, Erika Sasha Mulondo. She is not only there to support me in the times I call her to, she's there always, guiding, walking beside me. She's there to remind me of the natural talent that I have. She's there to validate me. And I want to leave you with, in fact, she introduced me to Brahm. And that's how I ended up being here. So I want to leave you with this quote of one of my spiritual and virtual mentors, Oprah Winfrey, who says, "To whom much is given, much is expected. And in my life, much has been given. So while I'm still a protege, I know that soon I would have to feed another." Oprah continues to say, if you can feed one person, just one, in your life is meaningful. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Nikhita. Well done. Well done. All right, Madam Timer, if we could please get 1 minute to give Nikhita feedback on private chat.
Timer is on.
Thank you.
One minute is up.
Thank you very much. All right, if we could now introduce Ram Laknapal. Ram is going to provide us with the objectives of our next speaker's speech. Ram?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Our next evaluator is working on a path and reflecting upon that path. In other words, it's the last one. Hence, the timing is a little bit more than generally 5, 6, and 7. I'm looking forward to what's the purpose or the objective? The purpose of this project is for the member to reflect on his growth during the completion of this entire path. Secondly, the purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspects of his growth during the completion of this path. With that, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ron. I'd like to now introduce Brahm Memone with his speech, 3 States of Leadership. 3 States of Leadership, Brahm Memone.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. This is my 8th pathways, strategic relationships. I'm already almost completed my 9th one, and I've just also started my 10th, but this speech is all about completing the strategic relationship. But however, I'm going to talk about all the paths that I have done and on my total leadership journey in Toastmasters, and what I've learned in those 26 years along my journey, rather than just this one path. Because I've been around for 26 years, I think that would be more appropriate. I'm going to talk about what I really learned in Toastmasters over the past couple of years, because it got really amplified. And that is the 3 states of leadership. This is not the styles, the speech, the second level styles. These are states. All the styles exist within each of the states. Now let's look at what those 3 states are. It's very, very important. And please do write down some notes. If you've looked at the dashboard, or if you belong to another club, which most of you do, if you're a member here, is that most of the clubs and most of the districts around the globe have lost members and clubs, and everything is down. And there's a reason for it. And it's been amplified, especially in Toastmasters, because we're a volunteer-driven organization, and we can't throw money at things like corporations can. Apple and Microsoft and Google, right? They got money. We don't. We are on very slim finances. And so it gets amplified here. And this gave me the idea for this particular speech. And here are the 3 things that 3 states of leadership. There's the operational type, the strategic, and the generative type state. Now, let us look at the operational leadership. That's a checklist. The operational leadership model, most of us are operational, by the way. All of us here have been taught to be operational, mostly through the school system, through our education, through the socioeconomic construct that we live in. And so we are very good at this. We are very good at checklists. This meeting is run on a checklist. Toastmasters is run on a checklist. Most organizations are run on a checklist. They have guidelines, human resources guidelines, standards, accounting standards, accounting principles, economic theories, and the rules and red lights and green lights and so on. These are all operational to make everything organized, streamlined, and linear. Now, what happens when you have that sort of an organization where you are ticking and saying, check, check, check. And then when the circumstances outside in the world change, what happens when it's not on your checklist? So we have a fixed mindset of doing things, a very fixed way with this operational, because a checklist has many, many different fixed things on it. And when you have fixed stuff on your checklist, even if you want to change one line, you've seen bureaucrats getting together and discussing that one line change, and they take forever. There are targets to achieve after all, right? And what Brent said at the beginning, we have always done it this way. And I say, if anyone ever says we have always done it this way, run from that person. Change is constant. But we've been trained to think this way. And so we lack the grit. And there's very slow change, if at all there's any change. And this leadership thrives on great amount of certainty. if you've looked at if you do look at TED Talks, and there's one TED Talk that is one of the most watched TED Talks on YouTube, Sir Ken Robinson, this person right over here, his talk on education talks about how our education systems teach us to conform and be linearly organized rather than be creative. And we're all very highly creative human beings, in fact. And so we like this creativity. Yeah, you see how the creative went, because it's creative, right? The creativity word. And because we lack that creativity when things happen outside of the box, and it's not on the checklist, what happens is pandemic hits, things change, everyone goes online, and it's not on the checklist. If you look at some of our pathway speeches, they're all meant for physical meetings, and it's not online, right? And if you are not able to adapt and color outside the lines, and if you're just looking at the checklist, that is the state of affairs. If you look at the dashboard in Toastmasters International, you'll see that. There's lack of imagination and creativity. It is not to blame any of us here, because this is what we were taught. That is our school system, right? And the system that we live in. And so a lot of our potential is not being used. A lot of our potential is wasted. We can all become self-realized human beings if that was part of the education system, if that was part of the socioeconomic construct that we live in. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. In the end, we will maintain what we are familiar with. And what are we familiar with is what we were taught, what we understand. And we understand that what we are taught, and we will protect that, in fact, at any cost. And hence, it's so hard for people to change, for organizations to change, and failure occurs when you are only fixed on checklists. And when things change out there, everything goes crazy. You remember the horse and the buggy, right? Story back in the 19th century, 1895, Benz created the first automobile, right? And when he created the first automobile, the horse and the buggy people said, this is a fad. It only goes at 3 miles an hour. Somebody has to run in front of the car, waving a flag. It makes a lot of noise. The horse and buggy went out of existence. The third law of thermodynamics says that if a new variable enters into a system, either the system has to jump to a higher level of understanding or go out of existence. Remember that. It has to go out to a higher level of understanding, a higher level of expression, become more self-aware, become more self-directed, become self-realized eventually. That's where it has to move towards, and that's entropy. That's third law of thermodynamics for those who understand entropy. Having said that, because I spent a lot of time on operational, because that's where we are all embedded, this is what we were taught. Now, some of us do get into the strategic part of things, because in Toastmasters, the 7 of you were voted in as officers, the Magnificent Seven or the 7 Samurai, and you will soon get together, or already have got together with your team, the 7 of you, and created a strategic plan. The club success plan, the distinguished plan, or if you're at the district level, the district success plan, right? And you go around and you made some adjustments to the operations that were happening. You created a plan, even though you are sort of checklist minded, but you are now forced to plan and to prepare, to strategize a little bit. And the tactical is, if this happens, then I will do that. And if that happens, I will do this, right? So that's what you tried your best to do, and put it in a plan. What you were in effect perhaps doing, because you were not really taught how to think strategically, is you took the pieces of the puzzle that you were given in the operations. These are the pieces of puzzle right here, right? And what you did was you took the pieces of puzzle and moved them around a little bit. And then wrap them in a tin foil of a different color. And then said, wow, and maybe even expanded the box a little bit. And then you said, we have a new product. And if you hear one of those TED Talks, it's by actually Brendan, forget the full name. And he says, you know, this is what we do. We move the puzzle around, we put a new wrapping paper to it, and then we hand it to the operational people. Now, operational people will look, the rest of the club, the rest of the organization, and they'll look at their checklist and says, that doesn't exist on my checklist. I can't do this. And once they form the strategic plan, are they going to really look at it? Sometimes not. In Toastmasters. Now, we think very, very differently, actually, hopefully. And our club, we want to throw the ball outside the court, outside the field, outside the ballpark. And that is where generative type of leadership starts. Is we take the pieces of puzzle, but we say, what else is possible with this? What else can we do? How can we bring a different reality to this particular paradigm shift that's happening? And we think outside the box, as Nikhita would say, take things that are outside the box and bring them in by stretching your comfort zone, the box. And remember that wonderful speech that she did a few weeks back? Thank you, Nikhita. And so we have the ability in this club, and we're going to sort of take it to the next level for all of you next year, coming year, because, well, coming year is now, after we end this meeting, is the coming year, is we are planning, yes, strategizing, but it'll be generative type, is we will create an expansion of how to really help you expand your mindset, right? And get out of your comfort zone and not say, I have done this all the time in my clubs, I'll bring it to leadership. No, it won't work. And you have to start to think, to create something unprecedented. Hence the Global Leadership Impact Summit, to prove to Toastmasters, not in our club, but globally, that something else is possible and that we can do something very, very different and even break the damn box. And this is what we are doing with Global Leadership Impact Summit together, all of us. And then quite a number of people in our club are involved in that project. They're being generative. And the key thing in being generative is you have to create a community. You have to work with uncertainty. You have to work with ambiguity. You have to work with volatility and complexity. And so it's not on autopilot. You really have to think creatively and experiment and color outside the lines. And I know I'm running a little bit out of time here. A little bit. Give me a few more seconds. And the key thing is to, as I said, is to form a community. It is very, very important to form a community. And when you form a community, it is by connecting with everyone. So what I'm going to say is that leadership doesn't happen during a meeting. Leadership happens outside the meeting. What's happening in this meeting? It is the operational type of leadership, of course. That's happening is we have a checklist. We started the meeting on time. Here's the agenda. You know, Sergeant at Arms, timer, grammarian, you know, that's operational. So the generative leadership doesn't happen during the meeting. The effects of it show up in the meeting, but it doesn't happen in the meeting. It happens outside of the meeting when you connect with people, you create a community, you create strong bonds and start to think outside the box and start to create something different. That's where generative leadership happens. Now, this is, of course, a very short talk. The longer part of this talk will happen at the Global Leadership Impact Summit. I should think that all of this club will be attending, I'm sure, because it is our project. It is, though it's my DTM thing, but it is really a club project to show the world that Leadership Speak can do something totally different and out of the box. And I know I've taken a longer time than I should have. My apologies, but I had to say this. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Brahm. No apology necessary.
Timer is set for 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Marianna. While we also have the timer up for people to provide Brahm with some feedback, if I could ask the Sergeant at Arms to launch the poll for our best speaker for today.
Minute is up.
Thank you very, very much. And I believe the poll has launched and everyone had a chance to vote, and we will announce the winner of the best effort speaker later on in the meeting. Now, if I could just call upon our timer again, Marianna, if you could just provide us with a quick timer.
Yes. So Fursey spoke 7 minutes, 36 seconds. Wesley, 6 minutes and 31 seconds. Myself, 7 minutes, 28 seconds. Nikhita, 7 minutes, 57 seconds. And Brahm, 14 minutes and 1 second. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, folks, I would like to give everybody a chance to refill their water, maybe grab another coffee, step to the bathroom, and I'd like to take a 5-minute break. Marianna, if you could give us 5 minutes on the clock, and then if we could have Linda call us back to order when that 5 minutes is up.
Timer is on.
Thank you very, very much.
5 minutes.
Awesome.
Bon appetit, Percy. Mr. G.
That's funny. KFC is actually very successful in China.
Wow.
Don't know why, but they've done a great job of adapting. And so they have egg tarts.
Ooh.
At a
Oh,
KFC.
wow.
Yeah, all day, even for breakfast, you know, because it's made out of egg. Doesn't matter. Great. Dessert for breakfast. I'm all about it.
Life is too short.
KFC is
Eat
pretty
your
popular.
dessert first.
Exactly.
KFC is actually pretty popular throughout all of Southeast Asia. They've done a good job of becoming a well-established franchise throughout a lot of Southeast Asia. So they're doing something right.
Yeah, it's managed or owned by a different company, you know, as opposed to Pepsi. It's Yum Yum or Yum Yum. Yeah, they're done.
Oh, it is owned by Yum Yum, eh?
It is owned. Okay.
It's owned by Yum Yum.
I believe so. Yeah.
Cool.
Same with like
Yum Yum. Yum Yum owns Jollibee in the Philippines as well, which is like Jollibee. It's the largest fast food franchise in the Philippines.
Wow. Yeah, I guess they just know how to get fast food going in Asia. They tried to get Taco Bell going in China, but then they found out what their slogan was: "Make a run for the border."
Run for the border.
It didn't work.
That's a good that. Mr. G. All right, I'm gonna step away here, folks.
Sandy, today we're not seeing your beautiful face. Sandy's on a break. Marianna, cool. I really like your background.
Thank you. That actually the waterfall at Niagara in the evening lighten up purple.
Ooh. The
Hello.
purple.
Hi, Mrinal. Good to see you, Mrinal.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Mrinal will be joining our club soon as he's done one speech at his other club. Finishes level 3 and then join us.
Great decision.
Yeah, it's a beautiful club. I need to learn a lot of things. Why you present everyone is amazing.
We look forward to your speeches.
Mrinal is actually a great networker. He's invited me twice already to speak at his club. And Globetrotters Toastmasters. So they're probably a global club, and they're in Bengal. And a great club, by the way, as well. Great people. If you get a chance, visit them.
Sure, I'll share the link. Brahm, I love your presentation. How you create the PPT and sequence. Amazing.
Yes, we encourage technology in this club. Sorry, go ahead.
Break is over, gentlemen.
Great. Thank you very much.
Gentlewomen.
Gentlewomen. All right. Let's jump right into the next part of our meeting. And I'd love to introduce our table topics master today, Peggy Onlock. Peggy?
Thank you very much, Brent. And table topics is the impromptu portion for anybody who is not aware of it. So I'm going to go very quickly into our table topics, and I have based them on change. So I'd like to invite, first of all, Anusha, would you like to do a table topic?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I've got some quotes here, and I'm just going to read a quote, and if you could speak up to a minute on it. So we'll have the green light at 30 seconds. And then the yellow light.
Could I possibly have the timing in the chat box when could they write green? Because I'm not able to see the timer.
Okay.
I will do that for you, yes.
Oh,
thank you.
Just got it. Okay. So the first quote is by Santosh Kalwar. Life needs a constant change. Minds needs the constant change. Only thing that is permanent in the world is change.
The only thing that is permanent in the world is change. Life needs a change. You need a change, and I need a change. And that came through when I was not present for the last couple of meetings in your club, because I needed a change. Not speaking on the lighter side now. The only thing constant in life is change. Is an oft-repeated topic, simply because it's the fact of life. Physically, we are changing everyone. Mentally, we can say we are never the same from one second to another. Our thoughts flit. Maybe we think better. Maybe we think more progressively, but we definitely think differently every moment that we are moving on in life. So physically, mentally, to be a fact of life, then shouldn't we accept as subsumed under change? If we, and to be a part of change. The sound across? Oh, so I hope this itself was a change. The fact that I was not getting across to you itself was a change for me. And I hope it's changed for the better. And I've started getting across to you. Because life wants us to move forward. Life doesn't want us to regress. As human beings, we always want to be well. And that's exactly what we are aiming for, to be better than yesterday, to be our best version of ourselves, and to accept that the only thing constant in life is change. Back to the table topics master. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anusha. Well, your sound was a little bit off for part of it, but I did hear most of your table topics. So I really want to say I appreciate that from you. And who would like to do our next one? And we'll try and select some people who have not already had a speaking role in the meeting. So, Ram, would you like to do one?
Sure.
Okay, this quote is by Danielle Cormack. In this life, nothing is permanent. Joy, sorrow, pain, pleasure, everything is in a constant state of change, thankfully.
Madam Table Topic Master and fellow Toastmasters, we're all aware about the changes that occur. The mere fact that we took this body is a guarantee that with this body we'll die. This body is going to be given up, go on. Some believe, I believe the speaker's title, our first speaker's title was, Is There Another Life? Or something to that fact. And I really believe that we're in a constant change. We're constant evolution that's happening. We talk about the ice age. We talk about so many other things that are occurring in scientific discovery. The biggest discovery of our time lately is the internet. And without that, I think it would have been very, very difficult for us to really move on. There was a vision in Toastmasters. Can you imagine without the internet what would have happened during the pandemic era? It would have been very, very challenging. So for that reason, I think we are moving on in the right direction. Believe it, that whatever happens, it happens for the good, and be a witness to it all. With that, back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Ram. All right, would either Vanita, Yvonne, or Christina like to do a table topic? How about Julie?
Yes, I'll be happy to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Julie. And this quote is by Anthony J. D'Angelo. Become a student of change. It is the only thing that will remain constant.
Several years ago, my manager came to me and said that you are going to be made redundant. We no longer need you to perform your role. Technology has taken over your job. Two things can happen. You can go off on retirement, or we can retrain you. But it was time for change. In my heart, I knew that I was hearing the drumbeat of change. It was time to move on. It was time to move into retirement. But also, in order to successfully retire and leave behind what I had known for so many years, I needed to cultivate new habits. I was going to have to make many changes in my life, or else I will end up homeless or on the streets. First, I needed to declutter. I could not keep on buying a lot of useless things. Second, I was going to have to clean up my diet. I'm going to have to clear out all the junk. And finally, I'm going to make my time worthwhile. I will only spend my time doing things that I really love. And so I decided to listen to that drumbeat of change. I accepted the retirement and decided to move forward in a positive mental attitude. And that is how it is, fellow Toastmasters. When change comes calling, listen, respond, and move forward with a positive mental attitude. Back over to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Julie. All right, and if we have time for one more, can I ask Renal if you would like to do a table topic? Yeah. And your quote is from Peter Diamandis. We are living toward incredible times where the only constant is change and the rate of change is increasing.
Can we repeat once again?
We are living toward incredible times where the only constant is change and the rate of change is increasing.
Yeah. I remember during my school days, and that time, I'm a person with an introvert. I always have a very small circle. I have very selected friends in my circle. Then when I completed my graduation, I think it's time for change yourself. You should be not your comfort zone. You should be out of your comfort zone. But how can do that? For that, although I'm a science student, I completed BSc in science, and then suddenly I changed to move in MBA in marketing and IT. It's a different domain, out of my comfort zone. It's a new subject. And for that, you need to be extrovert. And if you want to success in the corporate ladder, then in a marketing or in the sales, then you should have a proper decorum. You should learn every day. You become a better version of yourself. But how can you do that? You need constant passion, your target, goal, then all you can success in your life. And to that, a person who visited very limited place till graduation, and after that, with a change of mindset only, till now, I've already traveled across 13 countries across the globe. And right now, I'm working in company like GlaxoSmithKline. I'm working as a market access manager. So it's an organization in India having 4,000 people. And across the country, we have just only 3 people who are there in the system. So that is possible because you need to change yourself. You need to change your habit. If you change your habit, we can do miracle. But you should have a certain dream. And then you follow the dream, you chase the dream, and definitely you'll be a successful person. That's my belief. What do you think, Table Topping Master?
Thank you very much, Mernal. All right, so I am going to ask our Toastmaster if we have time for another. I realize we have a lot of evaluations for today as well.
I'll defer to our timer.
We can have one more.
One more?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Marianna. And who would like to do the last table topic? How about Sharlene? Thank you, Sharlene. Okay. And this quote is by Dwight D. Eisenhower. Change based on principle is progress. Constant change without principle becomes chaos.
Madam Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters, change sometimes change is a hard thing, very hard to deal with. Change where it deals with the loss maybe of a loved one. But nowadays we have planned for all those things. We make wills, we have things lined up, we've made trusts, we have people we want to take care of our kids, take care of our estate. So we plan for that. But we do a lot of that with a great deal of thinking, logic, sense, not necessarily all emotional. We don't want our kids to be able to just run rampant spending all my money. But I do want them to have it to last them for a while. So I might have put somebody else in charge of that. And that would be making change so there wouldn't be chaos for them, so that it's easy to adapt to that loss of a loved one. But when change comes along and there's no preparation, it's not something you were ready for, it just happens overnight and your life is thrown into chaos. I mean, that's change that's hard to deal with, hard to even live with, and definitely not change you want to keep going on with. But I do know that when you plan for the change, it helps a great deal. I recently, after a great illness, was able to return to work after 6 years of being away from it. And I was so afraid that so many things had changed, but I could prepare for that. I read up on it, went onto the websites, made sure I was up to date, kept using my computer so I could use the program. So I was ready for that change. And the chaos never happened. It was smooth sailing, and I had a great time returning to work. So change with some principles leads to not having so much chaos. Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Sharlene. All right, and do we have a poll for the table topics? Okay, so if everybody could vote for best effort table topic speaker, and then I will turn the control of the meeting back to our Toastmaster Brent.
Okay, I believe everyone should have had a chance to vote in the poll by now. And without further ado, I'd actually like to now turn the meeting over to our general evaluator for today, Brahm Memone. Brahm.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, are you having fun yet?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a very quiet type of fun, right? Let's make a little bit of noise here. Okay, I can see people are drinking the teas, the water, the glass, and so on. That's very good. Okay, my role as a general evaluator is to evaluate the meeting as a whole. And then, of course, I have a team of functionaries and coaches who will be evaluating the speakers and telling me how we did in timing and so on, and the grammarian role. To begin with, of course, we will have the evaluators tell us how the speakers did, and then we will do the rest of it. Our first evaluator is, if I look at my list here, was our table topic master a few seconds ago, and now she's going to be evaluating our first speaker, Mr. G, Peggy Onlock.
Thank you very much, Brahm. Hello, Toastmasters, welcome guests, and most of all, Fursey. When I saw that you were doing your presentation on vocal variety and gestures, I thought, wow, you're really good at that already. But I think there's always a time when we can go back and refresh ourselves on some of the basics. And I think you did that extremely well. Your opening was wonderful. And you also sent us a message. That's what we do as mentors. And the story you told of your student who was having difficulty and everybody else was really looking down on them. It was so meaningful and heartwarming that I really thank you for that, because I think in society today, a lot of kids do get left back because of the perception that some of the adults around them have on them. You had absolutely wonderful visuals. Now, the visuals weren't really part of what the objective of your speech was, which was vocal variety and tone, but they really added to that objective because you had them come in and out of your screen so well. And at one point I thought it was really effective because one of your visual slides you had up and you actually turned like that to it, but then immediately turned right back to the audience. So I think it really added to your gestures. So thank you for that. One place that I did want to see a little bit more was when you had somebody hanging on for dear life. Your gesture was very small in that one. Now, when somebody's hanging on for dear life, that can be a really big gesture. And I know if anybody can do a big gesture, it would be you. So I would just, that one place, I thought a bigger gesture would have been great. With your visuals as well, I know they weren't part of the objectives. There was only one spot where it did hide your face a little bit and you should be the focal point. But all in all, your vocal variety gestures are absolutely amazing. And I know you held your hands up here, I could see them. And I will be learning a lot from you in the future. So thank you very much for a wonderful presentation, Fursey. And back to you, General Evaluator Brahm.
Thank you, Peggy. And what I really liked about Fursey's speech was his use of technology. You know, me and technology. I go crazy about it because without technology, we wouldn't be talking to each other and we should be maximizing technology. Loved how you had your slides right there and the way you turned and pointed at them. And they appeared in front of your image, so you were behind the image, which is pretty good if you have a smaller slide, except of course, as Peggy said, don't disappear behind the slide if you can. But otherwise, loved your total command of the slide and how you moved when the slide came up and then disappeared. I don't know if you were using Prezi or whatever, but very well used. Thank you very much, Peggy, for your evaluation. You picked on the succinct points, and hopefully our speaker will go to the next and the next and the next level from here on, because we can always improve and change. Our next evaluator is going to be Francois, and he's going to be evaluating Wesley.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator CGD Brahm and President. Good day to you, TM Wesley, Toastmaster Wesley, and I'm so happy to be your evaluator. Please forgive me for not having my camera on, internet instability. I will repeat the purpose of Toastmasters Wesley's project. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. You excel at sharing content that was in order. In presenting real-life situations to unknown audience, you showed confidence and overcame the little teariness that popped up within. Yes, I heard it. And I must say, keep doing this in your presentation to let the audience feel you through vocal variety. If you want to work on, engage the use of technology in presentations. We want to cover everyone, and that includes our visual learners. And this is not just for Toastmaster Wesley, but all of us. And anyone in this room that is technology, not technology advanced like Brahm, here's an idea. Practice with any one of us Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an organization that allow us to fall, learn, stand up, and grow. Positive change is constant. To challenge yourself, ask questions a few times to the audience to ensure that they are indeed connected and engaged with you. Although you see their cameras on. Yes, you might see their cameras, they're smiling, they're like, oh my gosh, gasping, putting their hand over their face, like, oh my word, he did not, what? So you might be seeing those reactions, but engaging with them to ask a question one or two times, just call a name. These things will also help. Keep growing and soaring. Back over to you, our general evaluator.
Thank you, Francois. Great evaluation. Wesley, loved your speech as well. Very well done in terms of a brand new concept, for whether the audience believed it or not. It was how you delivered your content and what you had to say about your content, and mesmerizing the stories you had to say. You're a great storyteller there. So I love that. And hopefully you'll do more of this sort of storytelling speeches. Are very intriguing. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, Francois, for your feedback. Our next speaker is going to be, our next evaluator is going to be Sharlene Stafford, and she's going to be evaluating Marianna Burka.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. What a pleasure it is to evaluate you this morning, Marianna. Thank you for inviting me to do so. Your speech this morning was talking about mentoring, and mentoring specifically in Toastmasters, but telling us maybe when you were a protege. You did that really well. You kept the story lighthearted, which is part of being an engaging humor. You're following a certain pathway. So you did need to keep it a little lighthearted, a little bit of humor in there. I do like the part where you said you were unmentorable. I love that use of the word, but I also love the way you added it, taking a little dig at yourself. We all feel that way sometimes. I think that was great. I do feel like there's always some room for improvement in everything that we do. And that's probably why you're here this morning on a beautiful Saturday morning. Is that the beginning where you started off and you said, why am I a Toastmaster? You started using the word I in quite a few sentences. And I think you missed the opportunity to start to drag us into your story. And I think you needed to maybe ask a question of us, see if we felt the same way you did. I do love your comparison between your two mentors, Brenda and Brahm, compassion and challenging, because that's what it's all about. I think you did that really well as well. Again, you got to watch that time. I mean, you got to figure out a point in your speech where you want to get into your ending. Give us your message. Make sure it's clear, not rushed. I always practice a speech to about 5 minutes, 30 seconds. And then I always know where I am, and then I know how long I need for my ending. And that usually helps to make sure that I keep my stories inside my speech to exactly what I want to say, and then bring out the big guns for the ending. So it's not rushed, so the audience gets my message, and hopefully one day they're just going to rush to their feet, right, and applause, and that's what we're after, Marianna. So you got to work on that timing thing. You were 7 minutes, 28 seconds. Okay. So, I mean, it's nice to add in that extra 30 seconds, but use it wisely, not because you're rushed or pushed. But once again, Marianna, you do so much so well. I'm so happy and pleased with your progress. Your mentors obviously are working for you. Good job. Mr. G.
Thank you, Sharlene. And thank you, Marianna, for that wonderful speech about mentoring unmentorable. In coaching business, we call it the coachability factor. And nobody has 5 out of 5 in coachability factor. There's always resistance. That's why you need a coach, or that's why you need a mentor. A mentor is ready to show you the path. But coaching can be even more difficult. It's like change right now, your mental state to get to the place where you want to go to. And there's always resistance. In mentoring as well, there can be resistance, but you're more committed to seeing the path. And well, I'm glad that you have a tough mentor in Leadership Speak, because that's what Leadership Speak is all about, is getting to the very next level. So, and you are making use of that. I've seen you change tremendously just in the past 1 month. So congratulations. You are an advanced club member leader. Thank you. Our next evaluator is going to be Brent Pattison, and he's going to be evaluating Nikhita Winkler. Brent, are you there?
Thank you very much, bro. Yeah,
Yep.
I am here. I hope my internet is still working okay. Fellow Toastmasters, and most especially Nikhita. Thank you very much for your speech today, Nikhita. You delivered again in so many ways with respect to your of watching you speak. And one of the reasons standing, your lighting is great. You are focused well and positioned well in the camera. You really do just make that great physical presence of a great speaker. And starting your speech just by having that great physical presence and your stage properly set really helps the audience build a connection with you right from the onset. And you do that exceptionally well every time you speak. And again, you did that very, very well today. What I also really liked about your speech throughout is just your delivery of your speech, your vocal variety, your use of words like when you use the words priceless or symbiotic. You paused effectively, but emphasized the importance of that word. Your vocal variety was fantastic throughout, but specifically when you really wanted to make those points, I thought it was exceptionally well done. One other thing that I have to call out is I really like your natural body language, whether it was when you were throwing the seeds or when you were talking about your golden heart. It's natural. It's not forced. It's not pantomime. It's not overacting. It's very natural body language. And it's something that I really like to see in other speakers, as opposed to over dramatic use of body language. Yours is natural, effective, on point, and real, and actually attuned with what we're trying to say. As far as opportunities for improvement in your speech today, one is quotations. You used a couple of quotes from Oprah, but you didn't repeat them. You weren't using visual aids, which was fine for this speech. I don't think they were necessary, but I wanted to understand those quotes a little bit more. Maybe repeat them, draw them out a little bit more, make sure that if you're using those, especially in the case that you're using them in your call to action, that those quotes were understood by your audience. The other thing that I would have liked in this speech is get to the story of you and your mentor faster. There was a lot of preamble about what makes a good mentor and mentoring relationship. In fact, there may have been too much preamble and not enough of your story incorporated to really draw us in, because that's what we're coming here. We're coming to hear you speak and hear your story and hear what you're going to bring to the speech. And I wanted to hear more of that story. I wanted to hear it sooner, and I wanted to hear more of it. I wanted to hear the dialogue, that interaction between you and Erica that really created that mentoring relationship for you. Overall, though, again, I cannot stress enough how effective your overall presentation style is. All of the points, body language, eye contact, vocal variety, nailed it, nailed it, nailed it. I love hearing you speak, and I can't wait until I hear the next one. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Brent. Great perspective and evaluation on how Nikhita did today. I think Nikhita and Fursey do show theatrical. They are used to working in theater and in front of cameras or on stage anyways, and use the bodies and the movement, the space, and you can immediately see that. So wonderfully done how they do that. There was a little lack of energy as compared to your normal energy, Nikhita. That little bit extra thing that you had, it wasn't there today. Perhaps it depends from day to day, but just keep working and then take it to the next level. I love your speeches, the way you present. It's just so wonderful. Now, I will call on our last evaluator, but not the least, to evaluate the speaker, not the general evaluator, but the speaker. Brahm to evaluate Brahm.
it has a cinnamon to it. It has a certain ring
Ram,
to
we
it.
cannot hear you. You know, if you could put your volume up a little bit, or is
A
it
little
your
bit
headset
more. Okay,
positioning
all
or
right.
something?
Okay. How about now? Any better? Still. How about now?
It could be a bit louder if you can, but carry on with your evaluation, then we'll sort it out later. But strive to hear you.
Maybe better now.
It's okay, don't worry. Keep going.
Okay.
We'll just increase my volume.
Okay. All right. It's great pleasure in hearing and evaluating a speaker of this magnitude. Not a good speech, Brahm. Not a very good speech, but an excellent speech. I really liked what you delivered. It is what we come here for, to learn from the leaders, such as yourself. And connecting was really good from the beginning. Connectivity is important, and the duration of that connectivity throughout was good, as well as the conclusion. The other thing we learned in Zoom is the ability of us no longer scanning the all over the place to see who is where type of thing. You are just looking at the screen, which is good. You are a master at that. Let me go into, there are so many good things that you did. One more thing that I liked is the slides and your slides and vocal as well. A combination of those two. If somebody did not quite hear something, it'll be very, very good to do that. Now, in terms of improvement, a suggestion about the 3 Ps, the pitch, the pause, and the pace. If you were to improve a little bit more of that, it will be good. The other thing that I like to do is for you to do is you had a perfect example of 12 minutes. If you were to break that down into 3 segments, and as soon as you were to deliver the speech, you could say something like, I'll stop here after the first segment, and everybody's attention is back on track again. And you could do that again on the second one. And that will draw a lot of people in a lot more, I would think. And this is what I would do. A showstopper. And overall, as I said, the speech of this type is good. It's a learning speech. And I like to see more of your speech in the future, even though it did not directly attend to the path. You put all the paths together. Great speech, Brahm. Look forward to you many, many more. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster and Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry, Mr. GE.
Thank you, Ram. Point taken. And this is actually supposed to be a 40-minute keynote trying to compress. Yeah, last night I did the same one in 7 minutes. It was crazy. Point taken. Now we will move on. That is the end of the evaluations. Thank you very much, evaluators. Our next is our functionaries, and before I go on to the timer, hang a second. Let me just see. No, I will go on the Madam Timer. Marianna, how did we do?
Well, the table topics, which I didn't report yet, Anusha spoke 2 minutes and 8 seconds, Ram 1 minute 16 seconds, Julie 1 minute 51 seconds, Mrinal 1 minute 58 seconds, and Sharlene 2 minutes and 17 seconds. And as the evaluations, Peggy spoke 2 minutes 25 seconds, Francoise 2 minutes 21 seconds, Sharlene 2 minutes 53 seconds, Brandt 3 minutes 36 seconds, and Ram 2 minutes and 43 seconds. And this is my report.
Thank you very much. If I can ask our Sergeant at Arms to launch the poll for evaluators, that'd be great. Thank you. And while the poll is going on, I will ask actually our grammarian for her report.
Thank you, Mr. G. The word of the day was habit, and I counted it being used 8 times throughout the meeting. I guess we need to get better habits about using the word of the day. I did hear some ums, and I counted so far 10, but then we seem to have a run-on of the word end. We keep using and, make another sentence, say end, make another sentence, end, make another sentence, when we could simply leave the word end out altogether because it's just thoughts. We're just running on a sentence. So be careful of the word end continuously. I do like the sound of the drum beater change, stretch the box, be a witness, and of course, unmentorable. And that's my report, Mr. GE.
Thank you very much. And while the grammarian was doing the report, we did have the evaluators, and it was Sharlene. Stafford is the best evaluator, best effort evaluator for today. Congratulations, Sharlene. Well done. Awesome evaluation. Thank you. Please do come more often. Marianna would like those evaluations. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now I will give you my own report of how we did. And Madam Timer, 5 to 7 minutes according to the agenda. Let's look at the time. It is 11:26, so it won't be 5 to 7 minutes. It'll be 3 minutes or under. So let me go express. How the meeting began was as it ought to be, so that was great. Of course, as I've said in my speech, the meeting is all operational. It's according to the checklist, according to the agenda. Did we follow the agenda? Were all the people present from the agenda? Yes, yes, yes. Check, 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 check. Check marks. Wonderfully done. Amazing. I would have preferred, Madam VP of Education, incoming elect, if we can continue with how we do the grammarian role with the slide at the back. So if you're asking a guest to do that, if you can arrange that, a slide or somebody else to put on a slide so that we can see the word of the day. Here's an example. For example, this is what we use. And so if that can be used, that'd be great. And of course, as well explained on a regular basis in the chat, if that's not available. And if you have a role in the meeting, please do arrive 15 minutes to 20 minutes before. You know, if you arrive on time, you're late. And if you arrive late, then you're not in the meeting, really. So I would encourage everyone to sort of arrive on time. Great use of technology by a couple of our speakers today. That was done very well. I love that. I love technology. And this is what the club is all about. Because when we started the club, if you remember, our first presentation was this club is based on leadership, technology, and the quality of meeting, that quality that creates the experiences and the engagement. And if you're not using any of those, one of those pillars, the 3 pillars, then you're missing out. So please do use technology, which includes not only Zoom, but WhatsApp and EasySpeak and all those things. All those things create the final experience and engagement at the end. So hint, hint for some of our people. As for the table topics, thank you very much for the table topics. It was done well. I would suggest that you choose our members first, who, even though, you know, everyone may have a small speaking role, I mean, try and give it to our members first, because a lot of our guests do come here just to learn. They come here every week. They're here like almost like permanent guests. And so we don't want to sort of have them monopolize this. They can come here to learn, but that's about it. Unless they are just here to becoming a member and they come here 3 times to make up their mind, then it's a bit different. Like Marina, you gave him a chance. So we have to be cognizant of that. And our guests do know that as well. So just be a bit cognizant of that and give our own members the chance to practice table topics. That would be what I would suggest. Of course, I know some of our members, you don't know all the members, which means the generative part is missing, the connection part. We need to connect after the meeting with other people. So I would suggest that after this meeting at 11:30, remain here. We will discuss club business and everyone and socialize at the same time. So please remain here. Having said that, thank you so much. As you all know, and I'm sure, I think Brent did mention that we are at 10 And I leave it at that. You know what I mean. So back to you, Brent. That's my report.
Thank you very much, Brahm. On that note, it is at 11:30. Brahm did mention, of course, that we will have the opportunity to stick around and socialize, and for even some of our guests, welcome you to do so. And maybe during that little bit of social time, you can share some of your experiences as a guest. I don't know if we have any first-time guests here today, but we would definitely love to hear from you. And I just want to close with is I want to thank all of the members of this club for allowing me to be your inaugural president of a club that I am so happy about the success of. And officially, I'd like to pass over the reins of club president to our actual club founder and who was our general evaluator. And I'm going to pass the meeting right back to you, Brahm, and I'll let you actually close us out. I unfortunately can't stick around today. I do have to get running to some folks that are joining me here. But thank you very, very much, and congratulations, incoming Mr. President.
I would like to ask what's going to be on that barbecue?
It's ribeyes tonight, Brahm. Ribeyes.
Let's all go. Let's find our Brent's place. Sorry, Nikhita, did you have something to say before?
Yes, we're still waiting for the results of best speaker and table topics, please.
Oh, wonderful. Madam Sergeant at Arms, did somebody note the speaker, or Madam VP of Education? Okay, so we will not waste time. We will close the meeting, but we know we will publish it in our WhatsApp group. Apologies for that. It wasn't noted and we didn't do that during the meeting. But we'll get back to that. But having said that, thank you so much, Brent, for a great year. We did get 10 DCP points for a club that's been around just for 4 months to get presidents distinguished from, we charted with 20 members. On the dashboard, it says 29, but a couple of them did leave and one left to a better place. So we are down to 26, I believe, members at the moment. And thank you so much for a great year, Brent. I mean, as the president for 4 months, I know I'd asked you to continue into next year, but summertime is busy for you. So we will continue. Hopefully that you won't be away too long, having those barbecues and beer and wine. Tell us where you are. We'll come and have a meeting at your place. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll close this meeting officially. Please remain here because we'd like to discuss business and socialize. And I had gone to a meeting last night and they're actually saying Auld Lang Syne at the end of June rather than at the end of in December, which was amazing because they were doing an year-end celebration. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Thanks, Brent. Hannah, how was your meeting?
Thank you very much. Hi, good morning to everybody. I'm fine, thanks. The meeting went okay.
Good, good. So now, welcome to Leadership Speak on a much better standing. Like you'll be here more often, I think, is what I heard you say before. That's what I meant. Julie, how did you find our meeting and any comments? I know you've been here a couple of more times. Would you like to become a member?
Thanks for having me. Actually, it was a Saturday well spent. You wouldn't believe it, but this morning I woke up and I'm one of those persons who said, you know, next week, Saturday, July 1st, or next week, Friday, July 1st, I'm going to leave Toastmasters. So after listening to your meeting and in hearing your speakers and learning so much, it gave me a pause. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, okay. Well,
just being honest. Yes.
Well, we saved one member from resigning.
Thank
you. You're welcome to join our club. It's not that expensive to join our club. It's very minimal, but
okay.
It's up to you.
I have your email address so I can be in touch to find out the details.
Hannah here. Hannah is on the committee of membership.
Okay.
VP of membership is Dinesh, the incoming, but Hannah is on the committee, so she will contact you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks
you
for
can-
having me.
You're welcome. And Vinita, I don't think we've seen you here before in this meeting. Are you still there, Vinita? She's probably walked away from her. Okay, Marina, how did you find our meeting? I know you're going to be joining us soon, so.
It's amazing. It's always a great learning experience for me to join your meeting.
Good, awesome. We look forward to you when you finish your third speech.
Sure.
All right. And then we have Yvonne Codrington, somewhere from the Caribbean. I think it was the Bahamas, no, Barbados. I spoke to Yvonne Codrington the other day on Zoom. There you go. Yes, and she had roosters crowing in the background
Just
at that time.
Give me a
It reminded me, Linda, of Kenya. Huko Shambani, the roosters.
Yeah, the roosters in the farms.
Yeah. So how did you find your experience today, Linda, with the Sergeant at Arms?
You have to be alert. And that's just
You have to be so alert. You can't do anything else but be Sergeant at Arms at a meeting, because spotlight, unspotlight, bring the timer on, take the timer off.
and
Throughout the
admit
meeting,
people.
you are for 2 hours solid. You are, yes.
Yes, I didn't realize it was it's not challenging, but yeah, you have to pay attention. That's for real. You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience. It's my first time. It's a good experience.
Awesome. So, you could do it next week, though that's beginning of the month. Accountants are in beginning of months.
Beginning of the month is end of the month.
Mwezi mwisho.
Mwisho wa mwezi.
That's right.
Yes. Maybe then the one after.
Yeah.
But it was good. Thanks for helping me with it. The technology this morning threw me off when I started.
Oh, okay.
We're learning to be technology savvy.
Linda, I'll get some tips from you.
You'll take some tips for me?
I'll get some tips from you.
I think I can teach one or two.
Yeah.
How are you doing today? I didn't see you earlier.
Now I was at another meeting handing over my baton.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And what was
Is it cold in Namibia? I see you with the jacket. Is it cold?
It's freezing cold here.
We are burning hot and you're freezing.
Yeah.
Freezing means probably it's about 17 degrees and she's freezing. Yeah, 17 degrees would be like, ooh, okay. In Canada anyways.
All right. Don't compare Canadian winter with our winter. Definitely.
It's very different, yes.
2 different kettle of fish.
Yes.
I looked at last time in the kitchen, it was the same salmon regularly. There was no cattle. So Marianna, here's the thing.
Yes.
We have a guest here. Her name is Anusha. She just comes in as just about when the table topics is about to start, and then she will send a note to the table topic master to be the table topic speaker, and then she's done that, she goes. And I've told her, we banned her actually in my speak. We banned her not to come because that's what she was doing. And I've told her several times, but she still comes. She's not listening. So I will now be banning her from entering the room. And if she enters the room by mistake, I will take her out. So that's what we'll be doing, because you can't just take advantage of club just by coming to the table topics and then disappear. She's not committed to anything, and we don't want guests like that. So we will be banning her from now on.
All right.
Yeah. So we have to be upfront, right? I mean, people are misusing the system, and we can't do that.
Okay.
So hence my evaluation, the way you heard it about table topics.
No, you were correct.
Yeah.
In most
that happens.
As usual.
Yeah.
Yes. It's kind of difficult to know unless maybe you tell the sergeant at arms because you wouldn't know who not to let in because you just see the names as they come in. Yeah, so maybe just let the sergeant at arms know. If we remember, in the morning, usually there's so many things going on. That's the last thing in your mind.
Sometimes, you know what she would do is she'll sneak in the room and not put her full name. She just put AK.
Oh,
Shakurana.
interesting.
She would sneak in, you know, come in that way as well. So,
but I don't.
I know all the tricks because I've been dealing with her for the past 2 years, like that.
2 years?
A couple of years when we after we started
From the other club.
Yeah. And I think she jumps from club to club just doing table topics. And when I told her to join, she said, I can't join because I work for the government. You know, the nonsense thing, right? Bullshit. So, but she can come and do table topics every time. And we are recording the meeting, so she's recorded anyways. So
that's interesting.
So it's nonsense, right?
It is. You learn a lot of things from technology. I mean, what to look for, what to pay attention. I never thought about that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are like spammers of a different kind.
By the way, I liked your speech, especially when you say things are always done this way. You know, being in the accounting, you hear that a lot. And
because you know why, Linda, you have the accounting principles, the accounting standards, right? I mentioned that actually in my speech. It's principles and standards, the accountants I did because I'm one of those.
Yes.
And hence, of course, I didn't like accounting because there was no creativity. It was like static, right? And when things are static, after a while you get bored.
You do, but then sometimes you try to implement things and people fight you because they don't see which angle you're going. I think that is my biggest challenge because
in Toastmasters as well, people fight you. You know, when you think of creative ideas, people look at the checklist and say, it's not there. No, they do that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that resistance. I think as an area director, that was one of the biggest challenges I had with my clubs.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they tell you, we don't do it this way. We do it this way, even though it doesn't work.
Yes.
Yeah. So I really liked that speech. It was a reminder of so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not nobody's fault really. It's like I said in my speech, and I will make it very clear, especially when I'm doing a half hour or 40-minute keynote on that. I emphasize that throughout the speech, it's not your fault. This is how you've been educated, because people think, oh, I'm bad or whatever. No, it's just what you've been exposed to is what you will, protect, and you're vested in it all your life. So this is what you will do, and you'll actually protect it. That this is it, but it's not. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brahm.
Hello, Yvonne. At last you're back.
Sorry about having to think. That was a call because we are having our installation and induction meeting this afternoon.
Yes.
And I took that call. So I'm glad to be here, but I have to go now and prepare for this evening induction.
All right, Yvonne.
Right. So
all the best.
Right. Thank you very much. And so
you're welcome. Take care. So Hannah, what else? You gave your baton to, what is the name? Amor
Dada, yes.
What's the name? Yes.
I can't pronounce her surname.
She is the one I introduced to MySpeak, by the way. You know that, right?
Well,
I took her from University of Guelph Toastmasters Club and put her into MySpeak.
Yeah. Let her do the job. We'll see.
So now, did you go to City Center on Tuesday? Did you decide what you want to do?
No, Tuesday I couldn't, but I went on Wednesday to Bud's meeting.
Again, okay, and?
Yeah, I don't know how many members have they got.
It's a very small club. They're trying to build the club, so I think they've got about 10 members, perhaps. 11, I don't know. I don't look in the dashboard. You know how to look in the dashboard. Just put
Yes.
black walnut and it'll come up.
Hmm. Oh, they haven't even charted yet, have they?
They're a 20-year-old club or more. I don't know. What do you mean they're not chartered?
Ach man, hilf mir doch. Man, Gott.
Yeah, I know. Look, German. She's swearing in German.
I just know she was saying something. I don't know what it means. But it's like maybe she was given the wrong information.
That's what I said is, please help me. That's what I said.
You know what? Anna, give a speech because I think you'll be hilarious. Just what you did. That was hilarious. I didn't even know what it meant, but I was like, that would be a very good one in a speech.
They've been around for 20 years or more. Yeah, Black Walnut. Have a look in the dashboard. You'll see all the history for the past many years.
Yeah, mag ich. Okay. I delivered the speech at my speak, and I have.
You have what?
Was focus on the positive was my speak. Was my speech, was my title.
Okay.
And I nailed it.
Good.
Those people that gave me grief, I nailed them.
Okay. So you thought they got the message, or how did you nail it?
I hope so.
Okay.
So you know what you could have done is to really nail them, you should do the Global Impact Leadership Summit speech in my speak and tell them it's Brahm's project and let's go.
Yes.
Then you'll really nail them. Look at her.
No, but you know what? I may speak in Germany next week, next Thursday.
Oh, great. Awesome.
I might present my speech there.
Uh-huh.
Good.
Which club is it?
It's in Witten. I'm not quite, it's Witten Toastmasters Club, Witten.
Witten. Is it in German or English?
In Germany. And I may speak English.
Or you're delivering it in English?
Yes.
Oh, I see. So it's an English-speaking club.
It is actually a German-speaking club, but they can speak English.
Oh, I see.
And I got permission to present my speech there.
Oh, who gave you the permission?
The area director. Not you.
I'm trying to keep a straight face while asking.
That is so funny.
What's funny?
The two of you, I'm just entertained by the conversation.
They are like children, always speaking on each other.
Yeah, I'm just entertained by the conversation. You know, in looking at it can be like a short stories, movies or something, or comedy. Like a 2-minute comedy.
Nene, I can't give that speech as my speech. No.
Why? What would happen?
I'll be reported to the highest authority again. No. Won't do that. Somebody else can do that.
Are you a member of that club?
Until yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
But,
so why won't you give a speech?
Pardon?
They don't want to hear? They don't want you to hear it from you? I mean, if you're a member.
I want to relocate.
Where are you?
Oh.
But I don't know where to yet.
She's running for the border.
Of where? Namibia is on the other side. Canada is on. Where are you going? No man's land?
She's going to be floating in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, God. Not a bad place. Oh, wow.
Why are we like children, Marianna?
I'm sorry.
You said we act like children. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
Nothing wrong with it.
Just you can
But
just be a
that is a
kid.
fact.
Are you guys ever serious when you're training or discussing club business? Because it looks like you just have fun.
Yeah, you have to
Brahm,
come.
shall I give you some great news?
All right, give me some great news. I don't know if it is great, but
This month, it is great for us, District 74. We had our club officer training this morning, and we had 470 participants.
Wow.
470.
470 participants. That's amazing.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So that means all the officers showed up. Isn't that good?
That's for District 74. Amazing.
I saw it being advertised on one of the groups that I am in, the officers training.
So you mean you went for the training for Sergeant at Arms there?
Yeah, but that was
What do you mean?
that was for physical move for physical meetings and for online.
Well, that's what I said in my speech, right? You know, the checklist is still the old checklist, and we're in the new world. We've been in the new world for 2 years, and the checklists are, and so people are suffering, right? And that's why clubs are closing down, membership is down. The checklist doesn't match the reality.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, that was more for physical meetings than for online meetings.
Yeah. And how many physical meetings are there anyway? Are they all in District 74 physical now? Just a few clubs, right?
I think so, yes. I think most of them are back to physical.
Like, you know, your distances are great, vast distances, right? And so your division director visits and area director visits, the training that people have to go to constantly for in the district, it can be done remotely, really.
Yeah.
We live in a hybrid environment now, officially, so. And there's no.
I think some members don't see the benefit of the technology or the hybrid meetings. Because I know for us, District 44, some of the people were complaining that they wanted to do public speaking and they don't see how doing remote, like being virtual, helps them with public speaking. So that's why some people were dropping off, because they preferred the physical versus being on.
Because they see pretty much those Toastmasters have been around for a while, who are good speakers, sit down and start to deliver a speech without understanding technology and what it means to deliver. So they'll just sit like that and deliver speech. And now, how am I going to be impressed? You know, and I see the champion speakers sit like this and deliver the speeches. And so I go and say now, immediately I'll go into judgment, because I'm a brand new person and I don't want to spend my time and money somewhere. And I'll go into judgment about, is it going to be worth it here? And in Leadership Speak, we encourage people to stand up, encourage people to use technology and to make use of the speaking space within this frame that we have here. And so on, and how to make best effective use. And we are going to get into that even more. See that, how I can move myself. And we're going to use that even more in the coming year. We're going to create a group called Pro Level Speak and Lead. So, you know, and you'll learn all these different things. Right.
You look spooky. You look spooky.
I know. I am spooky. I don't look spooky. I am spooky. You know.
And the wind is gone.
You know, when I want to point at something, you know, I could do that. So
I
think that would be nice to learn about that because
I have to learn
a lot of
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of companies use that remote. A lot of companies are now international and people don't have to fly to go to meetings. And I think that's one aspect that people forget, that it's international now, so you might as well learn how to be both ways.
Absolutely. Actually, at the world, at the Global Leadership Impact Summit, Mark Brahm, who's been a champion in 1995 World Championship of Public Speaking, and he says during the pandemic his business really suffered, and now it's picking up and it's all online, and he says the online business will increase by, I don't know, he was mentioning several billions of dollars, and it's exploding, and it is. And all this online communication software like Zoom and so on, they're really working on sophisticated software that they will be putting out. And I'm sure we will have different types of breakout rooms and the way how breakout rooms will be used and so on. And you can have a whole symposium and a show, actually, one of those business shows where, you go to each booth. It could be all virtual, right? And meet people and network with people and so on. And those, I'm sure that people are working on those tools. And of course, if I'm speaking in Canada in English, somebody in Kenya could be listening in Swahili, instantaneously translated. Those tools are actually already available. They just haven't been translated into the virtual world in Zoom. They will be. And computers are getting very, very powerful. Technology will actually is exponentially going to take off. It is, and it's with artificial intelligence, it will change the landscape of things in the next few years tremendously. So yeah, we have to be prepared, and this checklist thing will not help us. You have to work with uncertainty, with ambiguity. If you are working with checklists and so on, sure, maybe you might get away with it in Toastmasters somewhat, but in organizations, you'll be redundant because robots can do that automatically. They don't need you. The robots cannot work with uncertainty, ambiguity, volatility, complexity, and the human element of empathy embedded in there and being more human and service-oriented. That cannot be replaced by computers, not in the foreseeable future. So it does mean that we have to become generative and leaders and technology and create that experience that creates engagement.
Sounds good.
Hence leadership speak, right, Wesley?
Yeah,
That's a vision,
It's true, but I think it's important to maintain the spiritual aspect. I think we humans are essentially spiritual beings, a human body. I think we need to remember that.
I think there is like all of the quotes floating out there. That's what it is. Practically speaking, what do you mean by that? It means everything is a relationship, and how you create a relationship is important. That's what you mean, like a deeper relationship rather than a superficial relationship. And then you name it as spiritual, but let's just name it connection, a deeper connection with other human beings, being more human rather than hiding behind graphs and charts and so on, and widgets and thousands of production, and productivity. Become effective human being, which is to be able to connect with people and reach out. Doesn't matter where in the world they are, right?
I agree with that, but I think that there should be a deeper relationship with my personal belief is that there needs to be a deeper relationship with God. However you practice that, that's another issue. I think there needs to be that deeper relationship.
Well, that is also arguable because your definition of God is not other religions' definition of God. Or in some religions, major religions don't even have the word God in it. They don't even know what the concept of God is, like Buddhism, Taoism. So are they atheists? There's no word God.
Energy.
See? And there's no energy either. If you really look at the text, there's no energy. It's all about liberation, to sort of give up expectations and attachments and creating your own suffering. Instead of that, be liberated and be free, which in self-determination theory, SDT, it's called autonomy. right? And so that's what liberation is. That's what Buddhism is based on, and Taoism and Zen. It's not energy. That is a concept from the quantum physics by the Westerners about energy. It's all about liberation. It's the self-determination theory. That is the latest in psychology, which Daniel Pink actually put it very well in his book, Drive. And read that. It's an amazing book. There's three things that drive us, that give us integrity and well-being, which is being autonomous and relatedness and proficiency in skills, creativity.
Integrity.
When you have that, you'll call it spiritual, right?
Well,
So-
integrity is the first core value of Toastmasters, and that's fine. But I think the spiritual element goes a lot deeper than human definition.
Well, then, we all have our own definitions that we live and die by, right? So if you can't define something, then what is it? It's nothing. It's a feeling that you can't put your finger on. But then we are getting into metaphysics now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we will skip that, because then these are just opinions and perspectives.
Well,
Do we still have to record this meeting?
Oh my goodness, it's running. We'll have to.
Still recording? Oops.